Hello friends, I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's all wonderful and fantastic and amazing. Everything here is great. I might actually get to go to game night tonight, and I'm really excited about that. I want to play Lost Ruins of Arnak. I haven't played it yet. I got it at Gen Con. Yesterday I told you I had something cool and exciting I wanted to tell you about, but I wanted to have that conversation anyway. And that something cool or exciting is that M bought something for us, and that is a new camera. I got a new camera. I got a new camera with new lenses, because she decided that I needed to have that, and it's been something that's been on my wish list for a very long time. I'm currently shooting with the old camera, and I honestly will probably continue to shoot this show with the old camera just because it's working for now. But I've had this camera on my wish list for a long time because this one is old. I bought this camera. This is a Canon EOS M3. I bought it in 2016. I think at that time, or I bought it in 2016, and like the M5 came out that fall or something like that. But I bought it with like my first real paycheck from YouTube, my first real dollars I said I need a camera because at that point in time we were recording on a little old Canon PowerShot, which I still have, and it's actually, I enjoy using that camera. But this one is showing its age. You can hear that fuzz sometimes. The audio jack is a little weird. The flip up screen screws fell out of it a long time ago, and it doesn't do it does okay video. I mean, I think so. I think we're doing okay, and the audio sounds okay once I got a mixer and a board and all that sort of stuff. But it only does 1080p at 30 frames per second. It doesn't really do anything else, and I wanted something a little better. This is the Canon EOS M50, which came out in 2018, and I think I put this on my wish list like the moment this camera came out, because this is, you know, the latest, I guess, in the line, probably the last in the line. Actually, this is the Mark II, the Mark II version of this camera. And Canon hasn't released another EOS M series since. They came out with the R series, which is a mirrorless camera that has a full frame sensor. This is still a crop sensor camera, which just means it's smaller than a normal 35mm frame. But what I really wanted was this lens. This is the Canon 55-200 telephoto lens for the EOS M system. But when she saw that both the camera and the lens were on my wish list, and she could get them as a kit for a significant savings, she bought the kit. So I got, not only did I get the M50 and the new zoom lens, but I also got the regular 15-45 kit lens that came with this camera. So this is actually a new lens also. The lens that we're shooting through is Canon's like 18-55, which came with that camera. And then I also have I have a like a 22mm or something f2 lens, a real nice portrait lens that I got for they call it the pancake lens. I don't use it very often, but I now have, you know, 4 lenses for these cameras, and this is pretty decent glass. I took the M50 last night to my child's soccer game, which is the main reason why I wanted this. I've been shooting soccer games for a long time with just my cell phone, and you know, when you zoom in, it looks like crap because it's just a digital zoom. There's no physical zoom on my S9. And I kept saying I should get a telephoto lens, but the difference is like the 18-55 that's on this camera right now doesn't zoom very well. I mean, that's just barely better than Vision, so it's not like this camera shot better photos at soccer than my phone, but this lens does. And I took it last night. I swapped the lens hood, so this has a full lens hood in case I want it. I didn't need it, surprisingly, underneath those lights. I didn't see a whole lot of aberration or glare, but I also don't have any filters on here. I probably will keep a polarizer on it or some sort of glass, just because I clean it pretty often and I don't want to scratch up my lens, so I'd rather scratch up a filter and throw it away. So I took it last night. I shot a bunch. I used the rapid fire feature. I did single photo feature, face follow, all of that. It shot really, really well. Now, I haven't been a photographer for a very, very long time. I took photography in high school. I carried a camera with me all of the time between like 15 and 25 or 26. Like whenever film stopped being a thing, like 2005, 2006, somewhere around there, I stopped carrying a film camera because it was much harder to find film and I couldn't afford a digital camera. So I haven't been actively shooting photography in a very long time. But I wanted to, especially at sporting events, especially when my oldest child starts doing, she's doing theater work for her school and she wants to do theater work, and I'll be able to take better photographs of all of that. And I also I really enjoy this mirrorless system, this small form factor mirrorless system. The EOS R is like a full size, like giant camera, which is fine if I was like a professional photographer, but I'm not. And there's a lot to be said about having a full frame sensor versus a crop sensor. And if you don't know what those means, it really doesn't mean anything to you. It means something to photographers. It's a little more pure to have a full frame sensor. But in reality, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. This shoots a 24 megapixel image. It looks absolutely fine. And to be honest, I'm not ordering prints. I don't know that I'm going to do photography that way. But I might. I mean, I have a little bit more of a range now between lenses that I could do a little bit more photography like I used to. I mean, I used to take rolls and rolls of pictures and send them out and get them developed. I had totes of those. So I was excited because it means that I've been, when the microphone thing happened, I thought it was the camera. And at that point, I was unsure, like, what's going to happen if this camera gives up the ghost? Like, how are we going to continue with the show? Well, I don't have to worry about that anymore. We have this. We have the M50. Also, this gives me the ability to shoot 4K. I can shoot 4K at 29.4, whatever, 30 frames a second, 24.9, whatever it is. I can shoot 4K video, which means I can do a little bit more... I can do a little bit more. We'll just say that. When it comes to shooting video, when it comes to shooting at conventions, or when it comes to shooting games, video-wise, I can do a little bit more editing. I can be a little bit more... I can take wider shots. The camera can get out of my way, especially when I'm working in here. One of the problems I have filming myself with this camera is on a tripod and everything, it just takes up too much space. But if I can put this camera back by the door and shoot in 4K and then digitally zoom in, get that 200% zoom, that'd be a huge, huge help. Plus, this lens gives me a huge optical zoom, so I can definitely, set the camera back there and get a good, wide or narrow shot in this space. So I'm excited about it. I don't know when I will start using it to do this. For right now, I intend on using the old camera just because it's comfortable and it works. And it also means that if the one problem that I've had in the past using this camera to try to do workshop videos is I have to turn off my audio settings, because with this plugged in, I have to turn off the camera's audio, and so I forget to do that, or I change the brightness setting on this camera or the exposure setting on this camera to do workshop videos, and then I forget to do that when I come back to do the show, and so that first couple of episodes of the show really sucks because I forgot to do all that, reset the camera basically. With this, I can leave this camera set the way it is all the time and just use it for this. And then when I want to do workshop videos or I want to do something a little bit more creative, I've got the camera for that. So that's my exciting news. I'm really excited about it. I'm super, super happy and thankful. She is a very, very, very thoughtful person, and she gets it, right? She understands what's important, and she doesn't want to see this conversation stop. And I appreciate that. I don't want to see it stop either, so thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is immutable. It is an adjective meaning unable or unwilling to change. I don't know what immutable differences exist between men and women apart from differences in their genitals. Naomi Weinstein, an American feminist. Immutable. I-M-M-U-T-A-B-L-E. I only know that song. I only know that word from lyrics to a song, a Pearl Jam song. I don't know that I've ever heard anybody use immutable. outside of that song. It's a good word though.